I know that your meeting at the White House was off the record, so I will not ask you to tell me if the president previewed this announcement for you then, but is it your sense that the president and this administration, that they want civil libertarians to go along with these ideas, that they want the idea of reforming the military commissions to be something that civil libertarians will sign off on? When he talks about prolonged detention, but it not being the decision of any one man, it involving some sort of judicial and congressional oversight in some legal construct that is yet to be invented, is he expecting that civil libertarians will buy that?
You know, in meeting with him, he is an incredibly smart person, an engaging person, and he's frankly too smart to think that organizations like ours would go along with something like that just because of a motivational speech. I think really what's happening is that he has a policy of openness and listening to people that disagree with him. I think what needs to happen, though, is that he needs to employ his administration to provide more leadership with respect to these issues, because he's frankly being boxed in by Congress. We have a lot of people that were happy to stand with him on the campaign trail that completely backed away on this issue, and they're creating essentially an American gulag. And he's not making it better, President Obama, by coming up with ideas like this.
Politically, I know that you approach these things from the legal perspective, but legal and strategic and political matters sometimes blend on these things, particularly at the point when policies are being proposed. Liberals and Democrats and opponents of the Bush presidency used to argue that the president didn't have powers like this to indefinitely imprison somebody outside the court system. Is there a danger that people who support President Obama, and I'm thinking particularly of liberals and Democrats who support President Obama, they'll change their mind on that whole subject of presidential power, because this time the argument is coming from Obama rather than coming from George Bush?
I think that's a possibility, and I think, you know, to be clear, that the issue about presidential power for detention is a complicated one, and there are a lot of details, and it depends on who you're talking about, under what circumstances, and where they were picked up. But I think you're right that a lot of people are very confident in this president, saying he's a good guy and he's only going to use his powers for good and not evil. But that's something that we really can't afford to go down this road. I really do feel like this is the point where democracy continues to die after the George Bush administration, and that's not something we want to see happen at the Center for Constitutional Rights.
Vince Warren, Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Rights, thanks very much for your time tonight.